has ever seen.
The time has come!
In 2026, the US, Canada, and Mexico will be hosting the world's biggest sporting event, the spectacular FIFA World Cup.
For the 2026 FIFA World Cup, the member associations of Canada, Mexico, and USA have been selected by the FIFA Congress.
And, in preparation for the tournament, all three nations are racing to upgrade, renovate, and even reinvent their stadiums to meet the demands of modern football. But while many of the iconic venues, like MetLife Stadium in New York, SoFi in Los Angeles, and the legendary Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, were picked for their sheer size, prestige, and high-tech infrastructure, not every stadium was such an obvious choice. In fact, the World Cup has forced two sporting worlds to collide: American football versus world football. And NFL stadiums, built for a completely different kind of game, suddenly had to meet the rigid standards of FIFA, where everything from pitch width to playing surface is non-negotiable. So, with certain stadiums being too narrow for a regulation pitch, another sitting 30 miles outside its host city, and one that needed to nearly double its size, these weren't just unexpected, they were controversial. So, how did these stadiums, plagued by logistical problems, turf issues, and even political hesitation, win FIFA's approval? Stick around and let's find out. Arrowhead Stadium is a fortress of American football, loud, historic, and built for the NFL. But when FIFA announced it would be hosting World Cup matches in 2026, eyebrows were raised. At over 50 years old, Arrowhead wasn't designed for World Cup football, as its field was too narrow for a regulation FIFA pitch. The solution: engineers removed thousands of lower bowl seats to physically widen the field, cutting into capacity and forcing a redesign of the seating layout. Then came the turf. Maintaining high-quality grass during Kansas City's brutal summers is a challenge, so to meet FIFA standards, the stadium is installing an underground ventilation system that controls moisture and temperature, effectively turning the pitch into a climate-controlled surface. But infrastructure was another concern. Kansas City lacks a major public transport system, and FIFA mandates tens of thousands of hotel rooms near each host venue. So, local organizers responded with regional transportation plans. Buses, pop-up accommodations, even shuttles from cities over 2 hours away. Still, Kansas City had something money couldn't buy: passion. When Lionel Messi played an exhibition match at Arrowhead in 2023, over 72,000 fans packed the stands. The noise, the energy, it was undeniable. That moment sealed it. FIFA saw not just a stadium, but a city willing to transform itself for the game. Arrowhead may not have been built for World Cup soccer, but it's being rebuilt for the World Cup. Estadio Akron might look like a high-tech volcano rising from the hills of Zapopan, but its selection for the 2026 World Cup sparked real concern, mostly because of how hard it is to reach. Sitting on the far outskirts of Guadalajara, Akron has virtually no public transport connections, no metro, no light rail, and until recently, no official plan to fix it. FIFA flagged this as a serious logistical problem. In response, the state government of Jalisco, which oversees Guadalajara, pledged to build a dedicated rapid transit line connecting the stadium to the city center and airport. So although it may be a tight deadline, it's a necessary fix if Akron is to handle tens of thousands of international fans. Then there's the pitch. Originally installed with artificial turf, the surface had to be completely replaced. Now, workers are laying down a hybrid grass system reinforced with synthetic fibers and installing a high-tech sublayer for drainage and cooling. Although the upgrades don't stop there. The stadium is getting $12.4 million worth of improvements, including a new LED lighting system to meet FIFA's global broadcast standards, expanded Wi-Fi throughout the venue, and upgraded audio systems to enhance the matchday atmosphere. So, what tipped the scale? History. Guadalajara has hosted 2 World Cups, in 1970 and 1986, and its reputation as one of Mexico's true football cities carried real weight. So despite the logistical gaps, FIFA saw a stadium backed by experience and a city determined to deliver. Levi's Stadium was supposed to be the crown jewel of modern American sports architecture. Built in 2014 with solar panels, high-speed Wi-Fi, and Silicon Valley swagger, it looked like an obvious World Cup contender. But beneath the surface, Levi's had problems. First, the turf. The stadium earned a bad reputation early on when players slipped on patches of grass that tore up mid-game and the 49ers had to re-sod the pitch multiple times. So you can understand why critics questioned whether the venue could ever maintain a world-class playing surface. Then came geography. FIFA brands this location as San Francisco, but Levi's is actually in Santa Clara, nearly 45 miles south. There's no subway, limited rail access, and the stadium itself sits in a corporate tech park, not a vibrant city core. For international fans expecting the San Francisco skyline, it's a misleading introduction. Still, Levi's had assets FIFA couldn't ignore. It can comfortably fit over 68,000 fans and already hosted global events like Super Bowl 50 and the Copa America Centenario. In preparation for 2026, the 49ers launched a $200 million upgrade, including massive new 4K video boards, improved lighting for FIFA broadcast standards, and revamped VIP lounges. But what really tipped the balance? Santa Clara guaranteed that no public money would be spent, and the Bay Area Host Committee signed off on full cost coverage through private and corporate funding. Levi's Stadium didn't just check FIFA's boxes, it sold them on a sleek, high-tech vision of football in the heart of Silicon Valley. At first glance, BMO Field had no business hosting World Cup matches, and with a capacity of just over 30,000, it was the smallest venue in FIFA's entire North American lineup, far below the 40,000 minimum typically required for World Cup games. Yes, it's a great MLS stadium, but by international standards, it was barely a contender. So how did it make the cut? Toronto has committed to a $150 million renovation and is now underway to expand BMO Field to over 45,000 seats using modular grandstands and a reconfigured north end zone. This will include a brand new upper tier, upgraded media facilities, and over 30 new luxury suites. But the scale of the upgrade wasn't the only hurdle. The financial burden became a major political issue. Hosting costs for Toronto ballooned past $380 million, sparking backlash from local officials, and, at one point, the city's mayor, Olivia Chow, even threatened to scale back Toronto's involvement unless the federal government helped foot the bill.
I am not going to increase the budget any more than the $178 million that we've put aside. We can't go and find any more cash.
That support came, barely, and construction moved forward. What ultimately swayed FIFA was Toronto's strategic value as it's Canada's largest city, a global gateway, and home to a growing, diverse football fan base. Plus, BMO Field had proven it could scale before, having expanded for the 2015 Pan Am Games. By 2026, this once underpowered stadium will be nearly unrecognizable. It may have started as the smallest venue on the list, but come kickoff, BMO Field will punch well above its weight. Gillette Stadium has hosted NFL championships, international friendlies, and even concerts for 70,000 screaming fans. But hosting a FIFA World Cup? That was a stretch. Located 30 miles outside Boston in the small town of Foxborough, Gillette lacked the urban access FIFA usually demands. No subway lines, no bustling downtown, just highways and parking lots. But geography wasn't the only issue. The real problem was its turf. Gillette has relied on artificial turf for years, completely unacceptable under FIFA rules, which require natural grass for all World Cup matches. That alone should have disqualified it. So what changed? The Kraft family, who owned both the New England Patriots and the New England Revolution, stepped in. As key figures in the United 2026 bid, they pledged to temporarily replace the artificial surface with real grass for the tournament. It won't be permanent, but it will be FIFA compliant when it counts. The stadium also just completed a $225 million renovation, including the largest curved outdoor video board in the country and a towering new 22-story lighthouse structure, reshaping the fan experience. It was bold, unconventional, and it worked. FIFA didn't just buy into Gillette Stadium. They bought into a region with a deep football history, a powerful ownership group, and a willingness to meet every demand without asking taxpayers to pay the price. So while the world watches from the giants like MetLife and Azteca, remember, some of the most unlikely stadiums have already pulled off their own miracle. Because in 2026, it won't just be about who wins on the pitch, it'll be about where history is made. And some of these stadiums, no one saw them coming.